Man, every time I come out here, there's some kids down here. Vlogger without a cause. I sort of reconnected with my first real girlfriend, and you know, it's kind of interesting to see how people have changed and how they haven't changed. What can I say about that? I mean, her take on stuff is probably, let's see what the workman has been up to. Lens, but you know, her take on it was like when we were teenagers, sort of my first real girlfriend, you know, and she's a neat girl. I mean, I could tell that she let's look at the evidence here. So he's like a bass fisherman who needs glasses, probably a duck hunter, and his wife was partial to this color. Oh, another duck. Awesome. Look at that one. I guess there's a whole industry that does like duck works. Get her over here. Another duck. But this little pan would be amazingly. This is super handy for a lot of things. But gosh, with this girl, that was my first real love. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff there, you know. I haven't really been really hadn't been feeling well in the last 6 weeks or so I haven't done nearly as much music, or at least I haven't posted as much. I've done pretty much as much, but you know, I mean, people are going to be, it's really, you kind of have to consider everybody's motivation for things, and that people are going to be at different levels of sort of their life and understanding and stuff. I mean, it's the kind of thing where there's like these little gnats out today. I waited a couple years. I knew of her, and then decided to contact her on Facebook. And I'm really careful about who I let into my life. And I hadn't made a phone call in like a year, and I talked to her for several hours yesterday. I knew it would be like that. And, I was glad to talk to her. I mean, my thing is, that I'm really just not getting anywhere in this vlog. As an artist, and she's an artist too, and it's sort of, you just sort of have to disregard everyone around you and then follow your instinct, and there's just so much there where to start, you know. I'm sort of blocked or locked up about it. But you know, oh yeah, another thing that the first actual point I'm going to make is that She thought I had sort of a cynical outlook on the world by saying that, everybody's out to serve their own purposes, and it's not that way at all. Um, that's just reality. People are out to they have to spend, focus on taking care of themselves and getting things done in their own lives, or it's not their job particularly to pay any attention to you at all. So people have to focus on their own lives, and um, like that. So it's not cynical at all that people, the idea that people will do pretty much whatever not only suits their fancy but propels their needs and interests forward. That's not like being cynical. That's just the way the world works, and that's the way it's supposed to work and has to work. And if we can sort of take an interest in each other and support each other from time to time, that's great. But as long as it doesn't interfere with your own life too much, because but she thought I was cynical and paranoid. I'm not paranoid. It's not called paranoia when they're out to get you. But nothing could be further from the truth. It was just so essential for me to go away from other people and their fucking poison. She didn't. She's not like trying to hurt me or sabotage me or anything consciously, but some of the old stuff, she has her own motives. She'll probably be the first to tell you that, and that's the way the world works. You sort of have to be aware of everyone who comes around you, what their motive is. It's like an actor, what's my motivation? What's each person's motivation is the key to sort of understanding things. But yeah, it was just weird because the way the world is, the way it functions, everybody has to look out for themselves a lot, and it's not other people's job to promote my music or to understand that I'm an artist or appreciate that or anything. I mean, it's that same old thing where I said, yeah, I'm doing some stuff on YouTube. I went over her entire Facebook page before I contacted her and studied everything she had done and kind of saw the progression of 35 years. And I thought, well, I wrote her a pretty good long, like 4-paragraph letter. She called it a manifesto. I like that. Manifesto. That's like a Jeopardy. I'm going to smoke and get these gnats away. That's really why I started smoking a lot down here, was because the gnats don't come around as much. But manifesto. I really clearly laid out in the letter what I was up to, what I'd been up to, what had happened, so that she could understand, the motivation of this character. Character is the operative word. And so it was a neat experience. For me, I really meter who I allow to have contact with me and filter it a lot, because honestly, everybody has their own motives, and it's sort of one of our, look at the haters on YouTube. I don't get them that much, but it's really sort of in our inner character of everybody to sort of try to call into question or shoot down other people in certain ways. And really, I think it's important to consider what the other people are saying, but also consider their motives. And her motives are different than mine. Like when we were kids, I was talking about with her how instinct and genetics and evolution played a huge part in how our artistic lives turned out, which, her motivation when we were kids, she had that bear children and nest, make a nest and bear children instinct, like in our late teens, as every young woman does. And I had the mating instinct, as every guy does. So, and then later in life, she actually did get married, have kids, and sort of forsook her art. And I was trying to tell her, look, my whole life has been about music and art, and this is like my it's not about an obsession with YouTube or anything. YouTube's just a vehicle to get it out there publicly, And as the future turns more to computers, these files will disseminate in Oliver Hack in 1,000 years, which it seems like it'll take that long now. You know, I might actually, dude, I'm not gonna wave at you. I don't dig you. You're a nuisance. This crazy kid that lives in here. If I acknowledge him, he'll stop and come over, and then I gotta run him off personally. He's like got problems. I tried being friendly. He's just a nuisance. But I digress. It's you know, and I completely understood her critiques, but life, especially when you're not under the influence of any drug, you know, it's really clear that people, we all have our own motives. We all do what we need to do to meet our own needs, and it's difficult for us to even pay attention to anyone else. I was going to say, I went over her entire dossier, manifesto, Facebook, if you will. I hate fucking Facebook too, and I figured, well, I'll send her my Facebook and YouTube, and I figured, well, she'll be curious and go over this and sort of brief herself before we talk, you know. Not the case. I'm like, I do music on the internet, not the slightest bit interested, you know. And I'm like, this is amazing, and some of it, not all of it, but some of it's totally amazing that one person did all this, and you know, being really not well, and being really, you know, in a horrible piece of shit RV, sicker than hell, you know, in the middle of nowhere. But the work itself stands above that, and the circumstances that I've done this stuff in make it at least curious, if not somewhat remarkable. No interest, you know, and that's really, it's a lot of stuff there. Finally, I don't know. I think I can pretty safely guess she'll never watch one of these vlogs, even though I showed her how to get to them and watch them. But I was like, dude, just to honor who we were and what we were when we were kids, and how much this epic teenage love we had, you know, which it kind of was. It is for every kid. I was like, I went over your entire Facebook page and sort of studied your life before I talked to you, and I waited a couple years because I don't, you know, it was a good experience. But she sees things, you know, through a different filter than I do, and I mean, really, I'm not, you know, and as far as when I say people take care of them, I'm not saying, oh, dirty, nasty, filthy people do serve themselves. Well, they do, but that's the way this universe is designed. That's the way the world is designed. We have to look out for ourselves to function. And that can be maddening, you know. Oh, by the way, my site passed 100,000 hits, and now there's a lag between what gets out there. And you know, there's a lag between, like, getting the hits and people starting to recognize you. I've sort of had a few hints of, like, in a lot of different ways, I'm starting to be recognized by people as an artist and a musician, which is great, you know. Oh, the other sort of thing going on is, it's time for me to now monetize this by clearing all of, and that's really one of the reasons I've been bulking. At the point where art meets commerce, it's always tricky, and as an artist, there's kind of a, as an artist, music or art or whatever, there's a real tendency to sort of not see. That's why they have producers, that's why we have directors, that's why we have marketing people, because the artist can rarely see himself clearly enough, like, to understand, like, oh, what you do is valuable and it should be sold. I get people every day asking me, where can I buy this, where can I download it? And I could care less about money, but that's the way we legitimize stuff in this world. I mean, you know, and everybody, and part of it is sort of seeking, I just want to collect all my work somewhere, which turns out to be YouTube. But part of it for me, and then making it public where people can enjoy it. You know, I will proudly say I'm really good at what I do, and you know, as good as anyone. And so, you know, people would probably like to, you know, look at it and criticize. But Yeah, so it's a lot of things, but where art meets commerce, I need to license all the songs, finish all that paperwork, and it's a mountain of stuff, and then uh, pay for that, and then pay, and that's like a couple of $1,000, and then pay for to have it distributed out there, to put it made available. And the numbers say it's incredible, but the number of requests, the number of hits, I've looked at like probably 30 different indicators. The numbers say I can make a handy living doing music on YouTube. Incredible and unbelievable as that is. But that's how we legitimize things, and um, there's the tendency of the musician or the artist to sort of not understand or downplay that, like, this is part of claiming what you're worth. I did another video on that, and there's a tendency of the person doing the art to not understand its value and to downplay selling it. And there's also kind of a psychological barrier everybody has, where it's like there's so much stuff involved with it. Becomes different when you offer it for sale, that it's another animal completely, and all other sort of circumstances surrounding selling the products, more liabilities, more benefits, you know. But there's also sort of a feeling of, like, I guess it's internal, minimizing your own value or not understanding its worth, but delegitimizing your own, authenticity as an artist. And that's a barrier. That's been it's been a stumbling block for like 6 weeks for me now. I'll get over it. But the numbers say I can make, within 5 years, $100,000 a year selling music on the internet from the number. And I have no way of knowing how many people would download the stuff just on a whim. Much less the hundreds of people who've asked, where can I buy this? Even if 100 asked it, or even if 1,000 people bought a $10 album over the last, since I've been doing this, the last year, that'd be 10 grand that, I could put towards a bigger RV, or getting an actual location. Although I am so happy in this situation. At first it was a curse, and now it was a hell at first. Now it's a heaven. And a lot of people throughout history have gone away from other people, and now I understand that fully, because they accidentally or purposefully poison your thinking when they're around, sometimes with negativity, other times with just maybe comments that are not very thoughtful, or sometimes just out and out hate and jealousy and stuff. But when you're away from them and don't have to put up with that, imagine if, I'm not even saying I'm anywhere near a star or anything, but imagine if, and I never will be, this will be something that I can make money at and do a great job, and that's what's most important to me. But imagine if, Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd or The Who or any of these stars nowadays, even, who knows, Coldplay, had to look at every single wild thought and comment, every Tom, Dick, and Harry who had some off the cuff, oh, well, I think you're an asshole, comment on their music. At some point you've got to kind of see yourself above that kind of stupidity and just go, look, I do what I do it well, I'm not really interested, either buy it or fuck off. That's harsh, but you get the point. It's like, buy the damn thing or go away. I don't get haters anymore, After I got several thousand subscribers. By the way, subscribers, one of my friends on here did a thing about what are subscribers. I love that Irish thing. He's Irish. He's like, subscribers. Subscribers are not your friends. Oh, then what are they? I was thinking they're like your bitter enemies. Some of them do subscribe to you to just see when you upload something so they can down thumb it. But more than that, the Irishman. I can't help but think here in the States we had a commercial about Lucky Charms cereal. Hearts, stars, moons, clovers, Lucky Charms. Talk about stereotyping. But I love that. Oh, subscribers are not your friends. And what are they? But I have my point on that. I have on Billy's site, like coming up on 4,500. When I post something, I'm lucky if 100 of those show up to watch it in 24 hours. If 300, if 200 of them show up, let's say, in 2 weeks, that's amazing. If in a month, this is with 4,000 subs, like coming up on 4,500. I mean, so it is kind of meaningless, and I don't do sub for sub, and I don't want people. One of the things I figured out, a lot of the people that sub to you only do so that you'll be curious and go to their site and watch their videos and stuff. But yeah, it's curious, I do have a lot of legitimate subscribers, and not even all of them show up. So, I mean, this for me, it's a big science experiment. I'm not. I'm good at what I do, and I think as good as anybody anywhere. So, it's time to put it out there for sale, and I have not felt well. I'm really quickly deteriorating in health, so it was weird talking to this girl. It's been 35 years. She was my first, if you know what I mean, and I could see she had had a hard life, and that probably alcoholism and drug addiction and just pure insanity played a part in it, the same as my life, and that she really sort of is, man, these little gnats are annoying me, but she's really sort of struggling with stuff still. And, things are so clear to me. But that was funny. She's like, I think she thought that by me seeing, and then she has different motives than me. And what those are, I can guess, but I don't know. But her motive is not to, make some world-class art and be all about that and post it on the internet. She has other motives. And that's so hard to do art and be in a relationship. I mean, you kind of get the Yoko Ono effect, throughout. I'm not saying now or ever again, but throughout life. When I was married and stuff, I had to give up doing art because they didn't care about my art, every single one of them. And it's not because they were being mean. They were just trying to live life with an artist trying to do art. And you almost have to, these gnats, smoke keeps them away. You almost have to give up relationships so that you can be clear-headed and devote yourself to music and recording for, a year or two at a time, and then because the two things don't go to each other. And I didn't have a single wife or girlfriend that supported me, and was like, oh, let's make sure you get that recorded today. Let's make sure you get to the studio. They could have given two shits. They had their own priorities, and it's just the way things are. I'm not judgmental or pissed or anything. It's just the way stuff is. People take care of themselves, and it can be ugly, but I see that as a beautiful thing. It's like I said to her, one of my friends is a Sikh. He's a Sikh guru, GP. He would never watch this either. Guru Prem. And one day he said to me, if somebody comes up on the street and punches you in the face, you should praise the universe and praise God, because the universe is moving ahead and functioning exactly as it should. And I thought, well, I'm not that enlightened. I would beat that guy down like a day at the office. But I get his point. Whatever happens, it's all good. It's moving forward as it should, But Yeah, relationships are different. I'm not. I just found it funny. Uh, she thought I was, by understanding that everybody's out to pretty much serve themselves, I was paranoid. Not the case. It's just the way stuff is, and I'm glad of it. Everybody can't be out to help me or serve me or do anything. Nobody has yet. That's a funny thing. In this whole thing, I haven't had a single uh, real life friend log on and just post anything, even like, oh, I'm aware, or even out of just respect. But, yeah, I mean, people. But yeah, cynicism and paranoia. I should call this vlog Cynicism and Paranoia and come up with another groovy music track. I've got like 100 songs recorded already that I need to put a video with and post, or even videos done. Nobody watches them if you post them too quick. And then a marketing expert I saw said post them all at once. We found that's the best way. I think he was talking about products. I think with music it's different, you know. I almost feel like I'm abusing the 100 people who do show up within 24 hours to look at something I do. It's like, if I post too much, it feels like I'm spamming them. I'm transferring stuff over from this site uh, to my music site. This is my personal site. Yeah, mine run long. I don't care. Don't watch these. If you don't have time, don't bother with these damn things. It's great. It's the only place I feel like I have friends. And really, with anybody I know in real life, we're all so busy thinking we know everything about everything and stuff. I can't talk to. I see my mom once every month or two. It's like she would never sit down and listen to me for 30 minutes, even though a lot of this, the things I'm talking about, she has no idea about and would probably be curious of, but she can't sit down and listen. And I'm not saying that I want people to sit down and listen to me for 30 minutes at a throw. I'm just saying I'm so sort of messed up mentally as far as my actual brain function because of brain injury and stuff that if people interrupt me, I forget completely about what I was talking about all the time. So this works good for me. And the last thing I talked to her last night for several hours and today for an hour or so, and it's like, we were really close when we were children, really, in our teens. And what she posted, oh, you seem to be so YouTube driven. And I was like, no, you're missing the point. Study some of my materials, baby. It was really just, I think that for me, this is a place to collect my work all together, audio and video, and to leave some sort of little running documentary about who I was and what I was, because I'm not going to be alive forever. None of us are. And also, these things are being archived in 1,000 years from today, if there is 1,000 years from today, when people look up, my line of family, it'll start with me as far as videos available, and they will all the time. So I think there's sort of an opening for people who are already dead to sort of become at least a factor in humanity and the future through these videos. So, I think probably someday there may be a few people who follow and do forensic, data, and these things will be, some people will look back and see people like me and go, oh wow, this guy was really good. He posted a lot of stuff. Let's market it now 100 years from today, and let's at least catalog it and make it available. So over time, this is my best shot, plus it gives me something constructive to do. But I'm just so glad to not be on drugs and be in touch with reality, and it's not cynical or paranoia. Although I understand what she's saying, because they're out to get me. Nobody's out to get me or anything, never have been, But that's just the way the world functions. To be aware on that level and to be okay with it, it's like, to summarize that, sometimes in life people are going to ignore you, and most of the time, and do exactly whatever it is that pleases them and voice their, you know, project ahead, pushes their thing forward. That's the way it is. That's okay. It's not paranoia or uh, that other thing. That other thing. It's not cynicism or paranoia to understand that and to enjoy that process. I'm glad that it works that way because that tells me things are proceeding. Uh, Number one, vlog engage. uh, Engage. So yeah, but it's weird to contact somebody that was such a big part of like your extreme youth, and to see the differences now. And I could see she's had a really hard life. She's a neat girl, but I don't think she understands anything about who I am or what I've been through or what I'm, doing now. And that's okay. I presented her with the materials. I mean, several times I told her, and it's the same old thing again. I think she might have finally actually looked at a few things and began to understand that this is an excellent way, vlogs, music, to do some research on somebody else, to learn about them, to honor their freaking existence, and not to, I mean, really, in my case, I'm like, with people, I'm like, listen, um, this is my life's work. It's good, it's deep, it's meaningful, sometimes wonderful, not always great, but some of them are amazing. Just, take a look and just take a quick glance at my life's work. Almost always, nope, no interest. And a lot of that comes from arrogance and ego. People sort of assume they know that you could never do anything that would interest them, and they know they're not interested in what you do. They just know that. But what I have found is if you can beg them, which I don't anymore, I let strangers support me. But a few times I have over a period of a year, my family finally watched some of my stuff. Now they all watch them quite a bit. But at first, they were just so arrogant and had so much ego about it. They were just like, uh, oh, well, we know you're just a piece of shit who can never do anything meaningful, even though they've never experienced anything I've ever done in adulthood. So there's that kind of stigma. Yeah, this girl is like, I don't care who you are, what you done, where you been. Don't care. No interest. And I'm like, dude, just look at my life's work. Just take a glance at it. You'll learn a lot about me. Nope, not interested. So that's what YouTube's all about. But the good news is, time and time again, if I can get people to take a look at, they understand more and they like it. I mean, I get an incredible amount of fan mail. It's insane. I'm just, I'm a regular guy. So that's awesome. To know that anybody gets you. And the people who get me really get me. And the ones who don't, just don't. There's a lot of prejudice. People think that, and I do it too. Boy, do I. I hit a page and, I can just tell right away that it's complete garbage, or somebody sends me an email and almost every time I'm right, but not always. There's a lot of great people out there. But yeah, opening, I thought about it a couple years, and then I said, I'll try this girl. Normally, you never have any contact with you. Friend them on Facebook. That's the only thing you ever get. As I've said before, there's two factors. People don't know about you on YouTube, and people don't care about you. Man, where is he? There he is. So, and I think that there's equal proportions of that. They don't know, and they don't care. And so it's not anyone's job to make people know about me or care about me except mine. That's just the way reality works. I'm not saying poor me, nobody cares about me. I'm saying that's the way stuff works. Deal with it. And I'm good with that. So, vlog out. Number one, disengage the vlog.